Welcome to the RVU OMM Mechanisms of Action series. This edition will look at the proposed mechanism of action of facilitated positional release technique. An understanding of muscle physiology is essential to explaining the proposed mechanism of action of facilitated positional release technique. So let's review the relevant aspects of physiology first. Skeletal muscle is composed of bundles of extrafusal muscle fibers. These are innervated by efferent alpha motor neurons in the ventral roots of the spinal cord, and are supplied with afferent sensory nerve fibers which travel in the dorsal spinal roots, specifically group 1A. There are also fusiform or spindle-shaped intrafusal muscle fibers that are parallel to extrafusal muscle fibers. Each end of the intrafusal muscle fibers are attached to extrafusal muscle fibers. This parallel orientation ensures that as extrafusal muscle length changes, a simultaneous change is experienced by the intrafusal muscle fibers and vice versa. The length of the intrafusal muscle fibers are regulated by the gamma motor neuron. Now back to the proposed mechanism of action. Facilitated positional release technique is an indirect technique. So how does it work? Facilitated positional release technique has three components, particularly when addressing the axial spine. The targeted region of somatic dysfunction is first placed into its neutral position to unload the joint's articulating surfaces, which allows the areas of dysfunction to respond easily and rapidly to the subsequently applied motion and force. This most often involves the flattening of the spinal region. Next, a facilitating force, such as compression, traction, and/or torsion, is applied and maintained. Finally, the somatic dysfunction is positioned into all three planes of relative freedom, or in other words, indirectly. This positioning is proposed to decrease the afferent intrafusal muscle fiber tone to the spinal cord via 1A fibers. This results in a decrease in gamma motor neuron tone to the same intrafusal muscle fibers, as well as a decrease in alpha motor neuron tone to the corresponding extrafusal muscle fibers. As a result, hypertonicity of the muscle mass is reduced and the somatic dysfunction is resolved. All right, so now you know how facilitated positional release technique works. And remember, as A.T. Still says, an osteopath reasons from his or her knowledge of anatomy and physiology. This has been an episode of the RVU OMM Mechanisms of Action series.